Before we dive in, I want to know a little about you. How old are you and where are you watching from? Do you use honey every day or only when you feel under the weather? Share it in the comments. Your answers will help shape the conversation and let us see how different people around the world think about this sweet golden liquid. Now, here is a fact that might surprise you. Almost half of the honey tested at European Union borders has been suspected of fraud. In a sweeping investigation of 320 samples, 46% showed signs of being adulterated with cheap sugar syrups instead of real bee-made honey. This is not gossip. It comes straight from an EU coordinated control plan. If nearly 1 out of every 2 jars can be fake in such a highly regulated market, what about the honey we casually buy at the supermarket? And here is another truth that most people overlook. 1 tablespoon of honey carries about 17 grams of sugar and around 64 calories according to the United States Department of Agriculture. It is natural sugar, yes, but your body still sees it as a quick rush of simple carbs. If you are over 60, watching your blood sugar or keeping an eye on your waistline, that single spoonful is not as innocent as it seems. We have been told for decades that honey is pure, wholesome, and almost medicinal. But natural does not automatically mean harmless. And some honey is not even real honey at all. Stay with me as we count down the 7 most common myths about honey, each one backed by research and real stories from people who changed their habits and saw a difference. Share your age and honey habit in the comments now and let us see how many of these myths you have believed. Before we get to number 1, the twist that shocks almost everyone. Now that we have shaken some of the comfort around honey, let us set the stage for what comes next. This is not a video made to scare you or to tell you to throw away what you love. It is an invitation to look at one of the most praised natural foods with clear eyes and reliable science. When we pass the age of 60, small choices shape our heart health, our weight, and even how much energy we feel each day. Many of us reach for honey believing it is always good, that it heals and protects. But the truth is more layered. Across the next few minutes, we will move through 7 common beliefs about honey. Some are harmless misunderstandings, others could quietly affect blood sugar, sleep, or digestion. We will bring in the work of respected scientists and well-known medical institutions, so you can see what is proven and what is mostly marketing. Each section will also follow a real person who tried to change a habit and learned something surprising. Stay until the very end. The final myth, number 1 on our list, is the one that most people never question. Knowing it could change how you choose and use honey for the rest of your life. Many people believe that honey is one of the healthiest foods on earth and that you can add as much as you want without worry. Science says otherwise. Researchers at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health remind us that honey is still mostly sugar. Its main components are fructose and glucose. These sugars raise blood sugar and can add calories quickly. A tablespoon of honey holds about 64 calories and 17 grams of sugar. For someone over 60, especially if you are keeping an eye on your heart and blood pressure, that extra sugar matters. Take Harold, a 70-year-old retiree who loved starting every morning with 2 generous spoons of honey in warm water. He believed it was good for his heart and immune system. After a few months, he noticed he was more tired and his doctor saw his fasting blood sugar climbing. His physician asked him to cut his daily honey in half and balance his breakfast with protein and fiber. Within weeks, Harold felt steadier energy and his blood sugar returned to a safer level. Honey does have antioxidants and trace minerals. It can be part of a balanced diet, but the dose makes the difference. Too much, too often, becomes the same problem as other added sugars. This is not a call to fear honey. It is a reminder that natural sweetness still counts toward your daily sugar load. If you are over 60 and love honey, keep it but measure it. A small spoon can give you the taste and benefits without pushing your sugar higher than you want. Stay with me because the next belief, number 6, is one that misleads many people who are trying to control diabetes. Knowing the truth could save you from a silent mistake. A common belief is that honey is a better choice than table sugar for people with diabetes. It sounds logical. Honey is natural. Sugar is processed. But when we look at the numbers, the difference is much smaller than most people think. The glycemic index, a measure of how quickly a food raises blood sugar, is about 58 for honey and about 60 for white sugar. That gap is too small to make honey a safe free pass. Studies published in Mayo Clinic proceedings have confirmed that honey still raises blood glucose and should be counted just like any other carbohydrate. Linda, a 65-year-old grandmother, thought she had found the perfect solution. She switched from sugar to honey in her tea and morning oatmeal, convinced it would help keep her blood sugar steady. 3 months later, during her routine checkup, her HbA1c levels were still high. Her doctor explained that while honey might have a slightly different impact on the body, it is still a quick carbohydrate and can spike blood sugar if used freely. Linda decided to measure her portions carefully and pair her honey with high-fiber foods. Over time, her levels began to improve. Honey does contain small amounts of antioxidants and may cause a slightly slower rising glucose compared to some sweeteners, but it is not medicine. If you are living with diabetes or pre-diabetes, counting honey as a safe replacement for sugar can quietly keep your blood sugar higher than you expect. If you love the flavor of honey, you do not have to give it up. Just remember to treat it as part of your total carb intake. Measure your servings and balance it with protein or fiber. Up next, number 5 tackles a belief almost every household repeats during cold season. Many think honey can beat medicine when it comes to coughs and colds. The science tells a more careful story. Stay with me. For generations, we have heard that honey is the ultimate cure for a sore throat and a stubborn cough. Parents give it to children, grandparents swear by it, and many adults trust it more than medicine. There is some truth here, but not the whole picture. The World Health Organization acknowledges that honey can soothe the throat and calm coughing in children older than 1 year. It works by coating irritated tissues and has mild antimicrobial activity. But experts like Dr. James Steckelberg from the Mayo Clinic emphasize that honey does not destroy the viruses or bacteria that cause infection. It is comfort, not cure. George, a 72-year-old retired teacher, experienced this the hard way. One winter, he developed a deep cough and a low fever. Believing honey was enough, he took 2 generous spoons in warm tea every day and skipped a doctor visit. After 3 weeks, his cough grew harsher, his chest felt heavy, and he felt exhausted. When he finally went for help, tests showed a bacterial infection that required antibiotics. His physician explained that honey had soothed his throat but had not stopped the infection from spreading. There are also safety limits. Honey should never be given to infants under 1 year old because it can carry spores of Clostridium botulinum, which may cause a rare but dangerous illness called infant botulism. For adults and older children, honey is safe, but it should be seen as a gentle aid, not a replacement for evidence-based treatment. So why does the myth persist? Because honey really can make you feel better. It soothes discomfort, helps you swallow, and can calm nighttime coughing enough to let you rest. That relief feels powerful, but it is not the same as healing the root cause of an illness. If you want to use honey for cough and sore throat, keep it as part of a balanced approach. Pair it with warm fluids, rest, and medical care if symptoms persist or include fever, chest pain, or difficulty breathing. Natural can be wonderful, but natural alone is rarely enough. Next, we move to number 4, a claim that tempts many people searching for better sleep. The idea sounds sweet and simple, but the science behind honey and deep sleep is thinner than most believe. Many people believe that taking honey before bed works like a gentle sleeping pill. The idea is that honey provides natural sugar that triggers the body to release insulin, which then helps more tryptophan enter the brain and convert into melatonin, the hormone that promotes sleep. It sounds comforting and simple, but when we look at the evidence, the promise does not fully hold. A review in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine notes that research on honey and sleep is still limited and results are mixed. Some small studies suggest honey may help maintain stable blood sugar through the night, which can keep you from waking up hungry. Yet there is no strong proof that honey by itself makes you fall asleep faster or sleep more deeply. Dr. Michael Broyce, a clinical psychologist often called the sleep doctor, explains that honey might create a calming bedtime ritual, but should not be mistaken for a medical treatment for insomnia. Nancy, a 68-year-old who struggled with restless nights, believed honey would be her answer. She added 2 tablespoons to warm milk every evening. At first it felt soothing, but over several months she noticed weight gain and no real improvement in sleep quality. When she finally spoke with her doctor, she learned that while honey could be part of a relaxing routine, it was not fixing the root of her poor sleep, which was linked to irregular bedtime and late caffeine. After adjusting her habits, she slept better and reduced her nightly honey to a small spoonful. For older adults, sleep can be fragile. Using honey as a bedtime ritual is fine, but relying on it as a cure can lead to disappointment and extra sugar that adds up over time. Focus instead on proven strategies like keeping a steady sleep schedule, reducing screen light, and limiting caffeine. Honey can stay on the table, but as a treat, not a treatment. Coming next is number 3, one of the most attractive myths for anyone hoping to manage weight. Many believe honey is a secret weapon for burning fat and losing pounds. The truth is more complicated and worth hearing before you pour that next sweet drink. Many people believe that starting the day with honey and warm water or honey and lemon will melt fat and speed up weight loss. The promise sounds easy and natural, which is why it has become so popular. A sweet liquid that burns fat feels like a dream. But science shows the picture is far less magical. Research from the National Institutes of Health explains that honey provides energy just like other sugars. 1 tablespoon gives about 64 calories and 17 grams of sugar. If you drink honey water without reducing calories elsewhere, you can actually gain weight instead of losing it. Honey has no unique fat-burning chemical. It does not raise metabolism or force the body to burn stored fat. Robert, a 66-year-old retiree, believed the morning honey drink would help him shed pounds. Each day for 3 months, he mixed 2 full tablespoons of honey with warm water, convinced it was cleansing his body and speeding his metabolism, but his weight stayed the same. When he finally visited a nutritionist, he learned his drink was adding over 100 calories every day. After cutting back to 1 small teaspoon, replacing processed snacks with fruit, and walking 30 minutes daily, he began to lose weight steadily. Honey can have a role in a healthy plan when it replaces refined sugar. Because it is sweeter in taste, you may need less to feel satisfied. Some people find that switching from large amounts of white sugar to small measured honey helps them reduce total calories. But honey itself is not a magic trigger. Long-term weight control still comes from balancing energy intake and moving the body regularly. It is tempting to believe in one powerful ingredient, but lasting change is built on habits, not shortcuts. Enjoy honey if you love it, but measure it carefully. Use it to replace, not add, sugar. Combine it with balanced meals and movement. That is how people over 60 can manage weight without falling for marketing claims. Next, we reach number 2, a belief repeated with absolute confidence. Many say, honey never spoils and can last forever. The truth is more complex and will surprise anyone who keeps a jar in the pantry for years. You have probably heard that honey lasts forever. Stories circulate about pots of honey found in ancient tombs that were still edible thousands of years later. It sounds impressive and almost magical. There is truth here, but it is not the full truth. Pure honey has a very low water content and natural acidity. These qualities stop most bacteria and molds from growing. That is why sealed raw honey can last for decades. But modern honey is not always pure, and how you store it matters more than many realize. The United States Department of Agriculture warns that honey can ferment if moisture gets inside the jar. When you leave the lid loose or scoop with a wet spoon, you raise the water content and create the perfect environment for yeast. Once that happens, honey can bubble, foam, or smell sour. Another risk comes from fake or diluted honey. When producers mix honey with cheap sugar syrups, its natural protection weakens and spoilage can happen much faster. Maria, a 70-year-old grandmother, learned this by accident. She bought a large jar of honey from a street market, thinking it would stay perfect for years. After a few months, she noticed tiny bubbles and a strange sour scent. It turned out the honey had been mixed with corn syrup. The seller admitted it was a common way to keep prices low. Maria now buys from trusted beekeepers and keeps her jar tightly closed in a cool, dry place. So yes, honey can last an incredibly long time when it is raw and properly sealed. But assuming every jar is immortal is a mistake. If your honey smells odd, foams, or tastes fermented, it has gone bad. If you want it to stay safe, keep the lid tight, store it at room temperature away from moisture, and avoid dipping in wet utensils. Next, we arrive at number 1, the biggest secret of all. It is not about how long honey lasts or how sweet it tastes. It is about something deeper that affects quality, health benefits, and even trust. Stay with me because the truth at number 1 changes how you should choose and use honey for the rest of your life. We have reached the final and most important truth. The greatest secret about honey is that not all honey is the same. 2 jars that look identical on the shelf can be completely different inside. Quality depends on the flowers, the bees visited, how the honey was processed, and whether it has been tampered with along the supply chain. This is where the story gets serious, because what you buy may not be what you think you are buying. Research led by Dr. Berenbaum at the University of Illinois shows that large amounts of honey sold globally are ultra-filtered to remove pollen. Pollen is the fingerprint of honey, showing its origin and helping verify if it is genuine. When producers remove pollen, it becomes almost impossible to trace where the honey came from or if it was mixed with other sweeteners. Investigations by the United States Food and Drug Administration and the European Commission have found that more than 70% of imported honey samples were so heavily filtered or blended with syrup that they no longer qualified as pure honey. Peter, a 69-year-old retiree, used to buy cheap supermarket honey because it was easy and convenient. He loved the taste, but never thought about its origin. After reading about honey adulteration, he decided to visit a local beekeeper and try raw, unfiltered honey for the first time. The flavor surprised him, richer, more complex, slightly floral. Over months, he noticed his digestion felt calmer and his energy more stable after breakfast. His doctor told him that while honey is still sugar, raw, unprocessed honey contains small traces of pollen, enzymes, and antioxidants that may support gut health and reduce inflammation when consumed moderately. The lesson here is not to fear honey, but to know what you are buying. If the label says ultra-filtered or does not mention pollen, you cannot be sure about the source. Trusted raw honey often lists the flowers, the region, and carries certifications or traceable details. Local beekeepers, farmer markets, or reputable brands with testing transparency can help you avoid fake blends. Storage also matters. Keep the jar sealed and dry to preserve its natural protection. For anyone over 60, this knowledge can make a real difference. Pure honey still carries sugars, but when chosen well, it can offer trace, nutrients, and authentic flavor without the risk of hidden syrups or unnecessary additives. It can be part of a balanced diet rather than an unknown product that may harm more than help. So the biggest secret is simple but powerful. The value of honey is not in the sweetness alone, but in its authenticity. Choosing wisely protects your health, supports honest producers, and lets you enjoy honey as nature intended. Now that you know the truth, how do you feel about the honey in your kitchen? Do you trust where it comes from? Tell us in the comments and share if this final myth surprised you as much as it surprises most people. You have now walked through 7 of the biggest myths about honey. Some of them may have been harmless misunderstandings, others could quietly influence your health more than you ever imagined. We looked at sugar content, blood sugar response, cough remedies, sleep promises, weight loss claims, storage myths, and finally the truth about authenticity. All of these details matter even more after 60 when small daily habits shape long-term well-being. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these beliefs did you hold before watching? Did you think honey was always healthy or that it could replace medicine? Were you surprised to learn how much fake honey is in the market? Your answers can help others too. Share them in the comments so we can build a space where experience meets science. If this video has changed the way you look at the golden jar in your kitchen, let it be a reminder. Natural does not always mean safe. Marketing does not always mean truth. But informed choices can keep the foods you love on your table without harming your health. I invite you to like this video if it opened your eyes, share it with someone who adds honey to their tea every day, and subscribe so you do not miss the next conversation that can protect your health and curiosity. Every view, comment, and share helps spread reliable knowledge and keeps this community growing. Thank you for staying until the end. The world of honey is sweeter and more complex than it first appears. When you know what to look for, you can enjoy it with confidence and wisdom. Now, tell us below how old you are, where you are watching from, and what you plan to do differently with honey after hearing these truths.